Hello everybody, streaming issues fixed, and we can get it going. So, what better way to start off than checking out the deck? I'm working on a newer build, changed a few things around from the original. So, take it off the top, I guess it is a Nekroz deck. So here we have one Shurit. Shurit, pretty good. You know, it counts as the entire tribute for your rituals, any of the Nekroz rituals. And if you do tribute him for an effect, not his cost, he can add a warrior ritual to your hand. So you can add, you know, any of the Nekroz rituals, except for this guy and her. So pretty solid, good extender. It also works in the graveyard, which is nice. And of course we have a newer guy, Vance. Vance specials out any of your other non-ritual Nekroz monsters. So you can bring out this guy, bring out her. Her in particular has a lot of synergy. These two work very well together, but we'll get to her later. So he can summon either one. Typically you go her because she searches, and she can search basically any Nekroz card. So imagine how that would be very helpful to you. But it doesn't stop there. He also counts as the entire tribute for any Nekroz ritual monster, and once per duel, if you tribute him, get out your Nekroz monster. Or actually, I think if you tribute him for any effect, card effect, he can add any number of banished Nekroz cards from your banish pile to your hand. It's a very cool combo. Probably see me doing that one later. I guess I can explain it, why not? This one summons her. She searches out a Reed Bear. A Reed Bear tribute himself, tribute her. Send a spell to the graveyard. Spell banishes her and itself. To add this to your hand, activate this, tribute your Vance, which is on the field, to summon this guy from grave. And that'll be like 4 summons altogether, so you're now, or maybe 5, so you're now protected from the Nibiru. So that's pretty nice. You can do that. And then, of course, she also centers heavily in that combo. She can special summon herself from hand if you have a Nekroz, or is it any warrior monster? Yeah, if you have a warrior Nekroz monster in your field or graveyard. So obviously this guy does not count actually, but Bryanek does. And Bryanek can search this guy. And any of your other Nekroz monsters. Sure, it also counts, but he's, you know, whatever. Usually you'll have the Bryanek, and then that makes her alive. She special summons herself. When she special summons, you get your search. So you get her off of this guy, and then if you do your shenanigans, add this back to hand, you can summon her again, and then if you have another one of these or any of the ritual spells in your hand, she's alive, and you can summon, you know, Bryanek, Trishula, Unicorn, any of the Nekroz guys. That's pretty good. Like the ideal board, typically you'll have a Reed Bear for a Monster Negate, and then Metaltron, which is IP on steroids. So very nice. So again, 1 Shurit, 3 Advance. I'm thinking of going 2, but for now we'll have 3 Advance. 1 of her, that's all you need. And then we'll get into the Nekroz rituals. I run 1 Unicorn, don't go into it that often. If anything, I go into his second effect, which we'll just say his first effect is negate any of your opponent's extra deck monsters on the field. So they might be able to dodge it if they, you know, tribute themselves or something, but typically this just turns them all off. So anything that your opponent has, it can have a full board of extra deck monsters. Summon this guy, they're done. And then the second effect, in hand, you can recover a Nekroz card from your graveyard. Yeah, any Nekroz card, so you can do the spell as well, or the monster, or ritual, whatever it is you need. Very nice. 3 Bryanek. Bryanek is your searcher. touched on it a little bit, but he searches any of your Nekroz cards, typically going to be this guy, but you could go for something else. Sure, another ritual target, any of the Nekroz monsters, and then when he's on the field, he can bounce up to 2 of your opponent's extra deck monsters back to the extra deck, which is nice because none of them trigger. So you could have the what's the branded card? It escapes me at the moment, but Mirror Jade. So that activates if it leaves the field, destroys all your stuff. Well, can't activate in the extra deck. So this effectively is an out to that. I'm assuming you can, stop its effect from resolving, which you can do with Unicorn, hint hint. So very nice. Effectively, it's a negate for anything that activates when it leaves the field, so that's pretty good. And then it's just solid removal in general. Only bad thing is it targets, so it can't hit anything that's untargetable, but other than that, very nice. You can make it untargetable though, usually with this guy. But yeah, very nice. Trishula, we all know what Trishula does. It is indeed Trishula. And then the secondary effect on top of the first one, which of course banish 1 from hand, field, and graveyard. And then the second effect, it comes up a little bit, you can in hand discard this when they target one of your Nekroz cards and negate the effect. So it's happened, I have used it, but not very often. Usually it's just Trish. A Reed Bear, what is up with my controller? A Reed Bear is MVP. You're typically going to want to do him with the combo that we already went through. He's very good for that. Also, his effect is to tribute a card from your hand or field, a monster card, and negate any of your opponent's monster effects once per turn. So that is obviously very good because it negates and banishes. So that's solid. Very good on top of his effect to, send 1 from deck. You can set up all kinds of stuff, particularly with this card. A lot of synergy there. And then it pairs well with this guy, who you can get stuff back in your hand, use it as tribute fodder, use it to summon another ritual. Very nice setup. Then we have, I guess we'll keep talking about the Nekroz stuff. Divine Mirror, very nice. Main phase, you can, this is a quick effect, quick spell rather. You can send 1 Nekroz ritual monster from your hand or banishment. You can special summon, ritual summon 1 Nekroz ritual monster from your hand or banishment by tributing monsters from your hand or field, and or sending Nekroz monsters from your extra deck to the graveyard, which would exclusively be her. It's very rare that you actually have that in the extra decks, just don't worry about it. But you could, that's an option. But it's good because you can banish any of these from your graveyard with a bunch of other, I mean, there's different ways to banish your stuff. But you can banish any of your Nekroz monsters and then summon them off this. So that's pretty cool. Kind of have your banish pile working as a second hand. Very nice. And then in the graveyard, you can banish this and a Nekroz card. Add any of your Nekroz spells to hand. Such a Searcher, as you see, it pairs well with this guy. And then anything that you banish can be added back if you tribute this guy. So solid synergy. And we have 1 of each of the OG Nekroz spells. You have this one. This one you can summon from your let's see. I'll just read it. Tribute monsters from your hand or field and or banish Nekroz monsters from your graveyard. You should summon 1 Nekroz ritual monster from your hand, whose level equals the total levels of those monsters. It's the basic one. Hold on a sec. Sorry about that. This one is one of the best, probably secondary, sometimes first. After this, you can tribute 1 monster from your hand or field, or send 1 monster from your extra deck to the graveyard. After that, ritual summon one monster that has the same level. So this is solid because you can use your extra deck, and that's ideally what you're always going to be using it for, so you can summon the Bryanek by sending Malong, bounce one of your opponent's cards, or you could send, not Intis, you could send Garura, draw a card. Very solid. You can't do it with level, say, 8, 9, or higher, so you can't just do one card and send Trish, or just do one card and send a Reed Bear, but that's fine. You have other ways to summon them out. You can't do Metaltron either, also a 9. So you're basically going to be using him or him. And they're both solid targets. As we already talked about, you can send this, bounce, send this, draw a card. Or for Unicorn, send her, destroy a card. Or send Herald, do another search. So they're all very solid. And then you got Cycle, which we would use in the combo. You can use Cycle to tribute a card from hand or field, and summon one Nekroz ritual monster from hand or graveyard. They can all do hand, but this one can also do from graveyard. So this is kind of your Monster Reborn, not really, but kind of. So this will go, it'll be in the graveyard for the combo. You summon him out with this. Basically anytime your guy is in the graveyard, you could use this. So great for really any of them. Depends on the situation, but very versatile. As far as Nekroz, that's kind of it. It's the Nekroz package. Oh, I forget Metaltron. Like we said, Metaltron is an upgraded version of IP Little Knight. SP Little Knight. You are able to, during the main phase, banish this, banish one of your opponent's monsters. I believe it does target. Yeah, so you can target opponent's monster, and then she is banished. Your opponent's monster is banished forever, but she comes back during the end phase. Pretty solid. Great removal. And then other than that, it is a pendulum. So you get a pendulum effect. Don't really ever use that, but it's a thing. If your Nekroz card is banished face up, you can target one spell or trap on the field and banish it. I mean, it can come up maybe against Radiant Typhoon or something. It's an option. Also, it gets set, so it would just be an MST target, maybe not. Like all of this whole deck, you'll see is very situational, very skill-based. You just have to know what to do in a given situation. But that's Metaltron. Pretty versatile, pretty good. I'd say Metaltron, this one, are the ones that get used most situationally. Maybe you could Trish, maybe you could use these, but typically, like, Metaltron and a Reed Bear are going to be good in almost every situation. And then we get into, I mean, we're already in the spice. We're talking about Nekroz and the big 2/6. But yeah, to make it even spicier, we have the Dogmatica engine, OG Dogmatica engine, no branded. Well, a little bit of branded, but mostly OG Dogmatica stuff. We have the Ecclesia, 3-piece, the Searcher. It's a great way you can combo straight off of the Nekroz package. I'm sure you know what Ecclesia does, but there is an extra deck monster on the field, special summons herself, you can get a Dogmatica card from your deck to your hand, and then you just can't use the extra deck for the rest of the turn. Common theme against all of the, well, most of the Dogmatica package, you just can't special summon from your extra deck for the rest of the turn, which is fine. We just play around that. You don't really summon from your extra deck in the first place, which is also why this deck is great against Fulos. But yeah, the more you know. So how exactly do you get this? Of course, you're maybe going second, your opponent has something, you just summon her out, no big deal. But let's say you're going first. You summon a Vance, summon Amelia, get your search, do the whole Nekroz thing. Nekroz is a Reed Bear. If you have a guy in your hand, let's say you have the Shuret, or you have, you know, any other Nekroz monster, you can send a Reed Bear and the card in your hand, go full combo, as we said, send Divine Mirror, banish the card you sent, send this to the graveyard. Okay, but at this point, you're going to use the two monsters that you have on field. You're going to summon Dugaras attached to, summon this guy back. This guy is tributed now from the Nekroz cycle that you used, or that you grabbed before. Summon this guy out of your grave. Now he's alive, so you're protected from the Nibiru. Oh, before you go summoning your Dogmatica, because right now you just have this, you're gonna send us to grave, summon your gravity controller. This will be in the extra monster zone. Summon your gravity controller. Now you have this guy in grave in case you wanted to go the Maximus route. If you're under Fulos, this will give them 3 draws, so you know, depends on what you have in your hand if you want to give them that 3rd card or not, but you could. It's an option. If you don't want to give them 3rd card, just keep Dugaras, it's fine. So now you have Dugaras in the field or gravity controller. You're going to summon Ecclesia. If you don't have Matrix, you're going to add Matrix. Matrix, if your opponent has a card, you get to search 2. You get to search 1 Dogmatica ritual monster or ritual spell. And then if they have a monster, then you can add any Dogmatica card to your hand on top of what you already just added. So that's pretty nice. Kind of gauge it. If it's turn 1 and your opponent doesn't have anything yet, you might want to go Maximus instead of this, because then you're only going to get the 1 search no matter what. So you could add the big guy and then use the 2nd Maximus send. I mean, the first one obviously is going to be Herald, and then Herald adds, you know, whatever, the first part of whatever you need. And then the second part can be like Shadal App Cologne, because keep in mind you're also giving your opponent 2 cards. So you're going to go App Cologne. App Cologne, you're going to search and send the Aerial, because your opponent thinks that you just got 2 free cards. Sometimes it matters, sometimes it doesn't. If you're playing Branded, they're probably going to send a bunch of the Branded cards that activate during end phase. But you send to Aerial. You say, no, banish everything. So that's helpful. We did go full circle. I used to run the OG Aerial, which is a Nekroz card. I'm trying to do that. Well, we did go full circle from running Nekroz Aerial to running Shadal Aerial, so I think it works better. The other one was just kind of a win more card. But yes, if you do the Maximus line, you're probably, in the current meta and beyond, always going to be sending an App Cologne and then something else, typically Herald. You know, depending on what you have in your hand, like you might have this already, which will give you a search, and then you do what I just said, and you get your other card that you don't have. So you know, search this, you search that, you go full combo. Or this, sometimes this is better. But yeah, that's a typical combo. This into that, into this, into Dugaras, into her. It's basically this guy plus any of the Dogmatica rituals, which by itself is a solid wall, and you're not even done there. But I guess we'll go into combos later. We'll just talk about the deck. So we have these. Next is our Fleur de Lis. Fleur de Lis, anytime your opponent has, or anytime there is an extra deck monster on the field, Fleur de Lis can summon itself. If you have a Dogmatica card on the field, in addition to the Fleur de Lis, when it gets summoned, there's also a negate. And it does work on whatever was just summoned. So you can chain. If they activate something, and this is summonable, and you have a Dogmatica, you can summon it and negate whatever they just tried to activate. It comes up very often. It's a very, very common thing to do. And we have Maximus. Maximus, pretty straightforward. You can banish an extra deck monster in your grave, just summon it, activate it. Each player sends 2 cards from the extra deck to the graveyard. We talked about you're usually going to want to send App Clone, stop any of the negatives. They might be running Intis or Garura. It's possible. Garura is fine. If they get a card, they get a card. This is annoying, but you you can still play. And then we have the whole extra deck package. It's just to send stuff to grave and activate. So we'll go over those later. You have White Relic, which comes up not as much as the other rituals, or really as much as the other Dogmatica cards in general. But you can use her. She's pretty decent. Her main thing is that you can select 2 monsters on the field. One gains the attack of the other. So if you have the big guy, she can become 45. If your opponent has a big guy, she can, steal its attack and attack over it by 500. Very solid, very versatile. If your opponent has an extra deck heavy deck, and you're really in a bind, you get summon the Unicorn, negate all their extra deck monsters, summon this, make your Unicorn huge. Doesn't come up that often, but you could. And then, kind of lesser effect, anytime your opponent special summons from the extra deck, you can look at their extra deck, summon 1 monster from it to the graveyard. Doesn't come up too terribly often, because if they have a problem monster like Secretarian, as I found out, unfortunately, very recently, that will ruin your day before this gets a chance to look at it. So typically you're going to want to use this guy here, with that second effect that we will go over, to send a card from their deck to the graveyard. Turn 1, if you can, to see what they're playing, and also disrupt them a little bit. But it can come up, it just usually doesn't. Like if they're summoning something, they're usually going to summon their good card first, so you can't send it to the graveyard if they just summoned it. But you can still rip something out of their extra deck, which can be helpful, depending on the situation. This guy's a lot better, in my opinion. Oh yeah, and then she has a hidden effect, let's say, because I didn't even realize she had this until recently. Level 8 or higher Dogmatica monsters cannot be destroyed by battle. Which can come up. I'd be lying if I said it has ever come up for me. Like usually I just win, or they don't care about hitting your stuff by battle. But that is an effect that she has. So this guy is really good. This guy, the downside is you cannot special summon from your extra deck, which is oh no, all the special summoning that we were going to do. So yeah, very rarely does that ever come up. Usually don't care. But you can special summon from, you cannot special summon from your extra deck. The big thing he does is when your opponent activates a card or effect, you can send 1 monster from your extra deck to the graveyard, and then send 1 monster from your opponent's extra deck to the graveyard. Which is great, because it is not only disruption, it is not only a way to look at your opponent's extra deck and see what they're playing, and then take something from it if they're only running a 1-of. You also send something from your extra deck to the graveyard, and all of your stuff is alive basically all the time. So in response to their stuff, you could send Antis, blow something up. You can send Garura to draw a card, probably your least good option. I would probably never do that if possible. You can send Apclone if you haven't already done so. You should probably have. You can send Titaniclad, also probably not a great idea. You usually want to do that turn 1. You can send Gwig, not a bad idea. Gwig, pretty solid. You know, depending on what you're playing, if you know it's branded or something like that, Gwig, pretty good idea. Herald, again, is probably more of a turn 1 play. Don't really want to do that on your opponent's turn. Depending on what they have, you could wait until they summon something and then do Malong, bounce their card. Same with this guy, Packbit, turn it into a Spell Trap. Lulu is an option. Typically, you don't want to do that. This is just to summon out big guy. But yeah, he's going to be Disruption on your opponent's turn, and then whenever he does his thing, he takes the combined attack of every monster that he just sent, both of the monsters, I should say, then he gains half of that total attack points. So he can get pretty beefy, or depending on what you said, he can be kind of small. So it's situational. You gotta kind of read the room on whether or not to put him in attack or defense. Turn 1, if you're summoning this guy, I'd probably put him in defense. So that way you're protected from Lightning Storm, which I have not seen much of lately. But also, if you don't have to worry about, I have to send a big monster so he doesn't have minuscule attack points, it won't matter because he'll be in defense. Yeah, this is a solid choice for all the reasons I just gave. You might want to do him sometimes over Albazoa. It really depends. If you do Albazoa and they just happen to be running branded, you probably lose. Like you probably lose because they just have so much stuff, and they could recycle most of the stuff that they didn't send. So that would be a bad idea. Going first, I would probably. Yeah, I'd probably summon this guy, to be perfectly honest. This guy has perks, he's huge, and he makes all of your Nekroz, all of your Dogmatica monsters unaffected by extra deck monsters. But it's too big of a risk if they're playing branded or even branded Draco Tail. I think they just still have too many plays. But I could be wrong. We'll playtest it a little more, see if that's useful. But yeah, if you can, I'd probably go this guy in defense position first, and then this guy. Pretty solid luck. And then you'd have other things that you could send, like Wig. You can be this guy. And that would be pretty good going first. Set up. And then going right down the list, we have Albazoa. Albazoa, on top of what I just said about making your Dogmatica monsters unaffected, he can, during your main phase, send 2 cards from your opponent's deck for every... Oh no. Send 1 card from your opponent's hand or extra deck to the graveyard for every 2 cards in their extra deck, or return all their extra deck monsters to the extra deck. And if you're activating this turn 1, obviously they have to do that other effect, because they would have nothing to return. Pretty big. Pretty good effect. I have done this many a time. Branded isn't huge in Master Duel right now. Once it is, I'd have to think about maybe even taking this guy out. But we'll see. We're not there yet. Then moving on to the rest. Oh, and then you have the Dogmatica ritual spells, which best in slot is definitely Calamity. Calamity, you send something from your extra deck to graveyard to summon the equal level Dogmatica ritual monster of the card that you just sent. So you could send Tis, or you could send Herald, summon the tiny one. Then obviously it's not a great play because turn 1 she probably doesn't have much. You're going to lose out on her best effect, which is the attack modification. But if you're in a bad spot, sometimes you just really need to send the Herald, get something like Ryanek to your hand so you can discard it, summon this, and then go full combo. Or maybe you just really need like another ritual or something. You just need that to be in your hand, and then you do that. So it's an option. It's not a good option. I wouldn't do that if I had any better choice. You could send any of your level 8s, so Packbit or Omega, or Gwig, or Titanic Lad, and then summon out White Knight. We already said what White Knight does. And then typically I like to send Titanic Lad so that during the end phase I can get out Ecclesia, and Ecclesia can search Fleur de Lis for the negate. And then obviously you can summon the big guy by sending Lulu, and then Lulu does the exact same thing. During the end phase, Lulu summons Ecclesia, search Fleur de Lis. And then we have Macabre. Macabre, instead of sending from your extra deck to graveyard, it banishes from graveyard And you can also ritual summon from graveyard. Doesn't come up too often, but it's an option. And then it does what it says on the tin. If you have, you know, Rura in your graveyard, by mid game you're gonna have a lot in your graveyard, and you can just banish one of them, you know, resummon Knight, resummon Dogmatica, White Relic, make her huge, attack over something, you know, something like that. You could do Albazoa too, if you have a lot of stuff in your graveyard and then they're not expecting, you know, the Albazoa, just summon this, turn all their extra deck monsters, or send what little they have left. So it's an option, it's in there. It's a recent addition, but I'm liking it so far. And then we have Matrix. We already stated that it adds a ritual, spell, or monster, and then if they have something, then it can add any generic Dogmatica card on top of the ritual that you just added. And then it actually has a third effect, which is if you control a Dogmatica ritual, you can send one monster from your extra deck or your opponent's extra deck. Turn 1, I've been on the Guignol train, where I send this and then I have the follow-up. Has not actually been doing me that well. I'll be real with you. Has not been going great. I'm thinking these cards are better used in response to something. I don't think they're too good proactively first turn. I think that I would much rather look at my opponent's extra deck and then take one of their one-ofs, possibly disrupt them a little bit, sometimes a lot. I say this because I've recently lost against Dracotail because they summoned Secretarion, and I just had no out. I did. I was able to get rid of it eventually. How did I get rid of it? I sent Malong, and then I was able to get rid of it. But by that time, like, they already had, you know, 3 back row, every fusion card in their deck on the field. Like, the game was already over. So in the future, definitely I would look and see if they have the Secretarion or something that just wins them the game, and then get rid of it. Turn 1. And then turn 2, ideally you have Knight, so you can just rip them again, and then you can send one of your cards, maybe the Guignol, maybe Disruption, you know, something like that. And the final Dogmatica card is Dogmatica Turgy, which is a trap. You know, usually we don't do that, but this one's decent because it is searchable by Ecclesia. In a pinch, you can summon the Ecclesia, search this, set it, do your shenanigans, and then on your opponent's turn, activate this, tribute the Ecclesia, summon a White Relic from deck, make her huge, and now it's also Disruption if they ever send something from the extra deck. Not a great play, but that's the bottom of the barrel play. And then you could also use it to summon, I mean, you can do any of the Dogmatica rituals. So you could do White Knight. White Knight does his spiel, as we went over. Let me see if you can actually summon Albazoa. This is 1-for-1. And this is also 1-for-1. Maximus into Knight, or Fleur de Lis into Knight. Albazoa, I'm not sure. Let's read cards. Real one. Whose total levels equal the level. So if you can make 12, you can do it. And sometimes we can. So you could do Albazoa. Oh, and then second effect, in the graveyard, banish, select 2 Dogmaticas with different levels, add 1 to your hand, shuffle a second into the deck. Great for this, and this. Summon it, add to hand, use it immediately. Or you can do this, Maximus, do this, summon this, send a bunch of stuff. Or you could do the rituals. You know, summon it, do it again somehow. If you have prep, you can add one of these back and then do that. So you have plays. And then the standard, Called by the Grave. And 3 Reparation of Rights. Prep adds Bryanak. Bryanak adds this, or whatever it is that you need. And then add one of your ritual spells from grave to hand. Not this. This is a quick play. But any of your ritual spells, including these. So great for the search, and then just icing on the cake if you happen to have one of these engraved. And finally, the extra deck we don't really special summon from, except for a few times. We know Tis, and Tis gets sent to the graveyard, you get a pop. App Cologne, you get sent to the graveyard, you can add a Shadal card from deck or graveyard to hand, then discard one. So you could have it add itself. Don't know why you would, but you could. Typically it's always it's gonna be the Aerial. Send Aerial. No. Search Aerial, then send Aerial, then banish. Same if it's somehow in your grave. Add a hand, send a grave, banish. Garura, draw a card. Titaniclad, special summon and a Dogmatica monster from your deck during the end phase, or add it to your hand. Typically going to be this, or this, if you've already summoned this that turn. You could do the other ones. I don't really see value in that, but you could. Guignol. A monster is special summoned by your opponent's monster effect. Summon this. Proskinion. During the main phase, you want a monster out of an extra deck monster out of your opponent's graveyard. You can special summon it if you can, or you can banish it, no matter what. And then the secondary effect, if you attack something, you can make your opponent take damage equal to the attack or defense, whichever is higher. Then there is Herald. You'd be very upset if this gets banned. You can, when this goes to graveyard, add a ritual spell or monster from your deck to your hand. Pretty straightforward. Along, bounce a face-up card in the field to the hand. Okay. And then Cyframe Lord Omega in the graveyard, target himself, target another card in the graveyard, return both to the deck. Adding Master Packbits can turn an opponent's monster into a face-up continuous trap. Yeah. Lulu, similar to Wignall, you can special summon. Let's see. During the end phase, if this card is in your graveyard because it was sent there this turn, you can special summon one light spellcaster from your hand or deck whose attack equals its own defense. So it's like Titaniclad. I guess I'd Wignall. It's like Titaniclad, but a little worse. You can only summon Ecclesia or Fleur-de-Lis. You can't add Fleur-de-Lis to your hand, which I think is where it's best. Mostly though, this is just fodder for Albazoa, so that's kind of okay. Dugarez, who is there as the bridge between Nekroz and Dogmatica. You're gonna summon it. Usually use the special summon effect to get this guy back on the board. You don't have to. If your hand is absolutely stacked or you have Aerial into something that you want to discard, you could use a second effect and just, you know, draw 2 cards, discard 1. Typically though, you'll need this guy on the field, so you're just going to do that. Typhon, just Typhon. Usually never really had a reason to summon him. There's usually always something better you can do. But he's there just in case. I might honestly take it out, depending. Depends, we'll see. Because there are other things I can send to the graveyard, like Aggregator. But for now, it's Typhon. And then Gravity Controller, as we covered, you can send Dugarez to the graveyard in the extra monster zone. Summon the Gravity Controller, and now you have something in your graveyard so you can summon Maximus. You don't have to, but it's an enhancer on your plays. And then SP Little Knight, which is SP Little Knight. Banish this card, or no, banish 2 face-up monsters in the field until the end phase. Can include itself, so it can dodge. And then if you use an extra deck monster to summon it, you can banish a card from the field or graveyards. Don't usually go into this, so I might also swap that out. And that is the Nekroz Dogmatica deck. That is the Nekroz Dogmatica deck profile. Still a little bit of work in progress, still cards that haven't been released yet in Master Duel I kind of want to try. But yeah, for now there it is. And without further ado, let's see how far we can get with it in the Duelist Cup. Let's go first. Interesting hand. Interesting hand. Let's try to bait out the Ash. He has something. I don't like it. It actually worked. I can't believe it. Not great. I'll be real with you. The Veil. Wow. Alright. Oh. There you have it, I guess. Darth Fred opening every hand trap in the game. Ew. not doing this. What else could you possibly have? He opened double ash, there's no way. Okay, triple hand trap wins. I don't think we need to see any more than this. Yeah, triple hand trap, you got it. I can dodge one hand trap, I can probably dodge two. Sometimes, if my hand is decent. 3 is like, okay. GG. He said I'm going first? So this is a 10 pie or something. Can I stop the 10 pie? Probably not. Let's see, I'm immediately thinking of what I can do to stop the 10 pie. This doesn't stop the 10 pie. Let's try to play cards. See what I have to play around. If he ashes here, I don't... Yeah, like this... I think I could go into the level... No, because it's... What is that? Oh, I'm playing... BS finally. This man's connection is... spazzing out, dudes in Antarctica. This man's in outer space. Okay. What do? You can special summon. Take control. Okay. Now he has the dark. I feel like I should be ready for him to try to steal my monster. So he's definitely got something. If he steals this, it's annoying, but not the end of the world. He has been on the cusp of DCing this entire game. Maxi. Ew. That's pretty annoying, not gonna lie to you. think I have to. That's quick effect. Oh yeah, and I forgot it's turn 1 too. Okay, well, we're gonna do this. He gets a card, but I mean, it is what it is. The max C at 1 does feel bad. He has to be on time. This can't just be lag. Oh no, he thought, but he chose wrong. He chose wrong. I care about any of these? Kinda not really. And I was not expecting him to take my stuff. I would have done different things. I would have done that differently. Oh well, nothing I can do now. He literally just has to end turn. What is he doing? What are you doing? The Maxi did put him in a great position, though. I'm mildly annoyed at how good of a position that put him in. Macabre is a good card. It's just not a starter in and of itself, and I drew it. What? I did not see the Raigeki coming. I did not see the Raigeki coming. I mean, not that I could have done anything about it anyway, but still. What is this? Oh, it's level 5. He's just trying to do level 5 things. Without Unicore, this gets very annoying. Honestly, even with Unicore, this gets kind of annoying. Hi, the sentient microwave. Thanks for stopping by. Okay, he's finally attacking. He's doing things. For some reason, he's just doing it very, very slow. He can do so much. I can activate her in the hand, prompting him to negate it, and then if he negates it, I can just summon it. So I think we do kind of just have to hope that he's bad at the game. What is this? What is this? Do I lose? Oh god, they're furries. No way. Get attacked twice. No way. That's crazy. Wow. Not a great showcase for the deck. Almost makes me want to cut one of the rituals. Almost. Try to build so that one disruption or one hand trap doesn't just do it, but Maxi is a tough one. Like even Foolos would have been fine, but the Maxi is rough. That's a rough one. What are these draws, dude? Dude, I gotta look at this. What is this, the third game I've drawn Macabre? I've played so many games with this deck and I've never drawn this absolutely dead before. Do I Trish? He has no graveyard, I can't even Trish. My opponent is also on some incredibly weird. There's no way. There's no way. There's no way. Ow. There's actually no way, dude. There's no way. I've got like 9 Nekroz starters by themselves. How? Three games and the worst draws I have literally ever had with this deck. I don't get it. Don't get it. He has nothing but spells and traps. So I feel like this guy would be a bad move. But he also has nothing to target, so I feel like she would also not be great. I don't know, it's tough. I think I'm just gonna go with her, though. Do I want to draw 2? Kind of, but I'm not going to. Because, like, it can't be Eldritch. He'd be popping off if this was Eldritch. Same if it was Trap Tricks. Same if it was Dino. He'd be going to town. I don't know. Okay, well. I know what I'm summoning next turn. Honestly, I might set it and just do it during his turn. Just sure. Why not? Why not? I thought I was gonna summon the big dude. Okay, end phase. I guess he's gonna activate his big guy and pass his turn. Oh, no, I'm getting lava rolled. Does that work? This card. Why? Oh no. So I'd have to. Okay. I could Trish, but I would have to take my guy. Might want to do that though. See what he does. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna do it. You set this one first, so we're gonna go with that. But Graveyard doesn't matter. Ceasefire. He had to? Of course he has to. Ryo, can I do enough things to win? Can I well, he could just chain if I Trish again. So, let me try to attack. Like I knew he had something. Okay, and we'll use this. What do I want to do with it though? I think I can. If I add this to my hand, I can add that and then add. This is annoying. Add this. Summon. Special. And And then what? I can add a spell to my hand, but I can't really... What could I do? I can banish this, and then... Oh, I could summon Bryanak from my graveyard. I mean, Trish. That is not a terrible idea. Trish doesn't help me in this very moment, so set one pass. Okay, well, let's not do that. Sure. One face down. Okay, so I can Trish, and then if he has Ceasefire or something dumb, I can IP. I think I'm okay, unless he does something really weird. I can't negate it, so... I think I've still got him. What is this monster they control? He's trying, but I'm not gonna let him do it. can't activate anything else this turn. Honestly, I'm just gonna blow up this card. I completely misread that card. It's the good old Yu-Gi-Oh! Players can't read. Right there. Track record is not great. But we're gonna review the old deck list and back at it again tomorrow, because that is it for now. But thank you. Stop by again and see what's up.